Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you for joining me today. Today is part 2 of our wonderful series on you ask my spirit guides your political questions and I get them to answer them. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in because we've got some really interesting questions today about just all kinds of things, from Christopher Wray to Grassley to Lindsey Graham to, of course, Trump. And we've got questions about who was the bomber, the person that placed the bombs on the Jan 6 day. So many really good questions here. So let's get started. Okay, so our first question is from Sue Perkins. Thank you for your question, Sue. And your question is about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And your question is, what motivates her? And does Marcus Flowers, who's running against her, have a chance? So the first thing, this is for entertainment purposes only because it's about to get real up in here. Marjorie Taylor Greene is bought and paid for. What motivates her is the cash money that comes into her account. She has quite an interesting contract that she has signed with these people that are supporting her. We all know that that's dark money. We all know that that money originates from, allegedly, potentially, just to CYA for myself, the Kochs, the Mercers. I talked about, they're reminding me in the video number 1, they discussed how for SCOTUS, there was this slush fund, this fund of money that various people put money into it. You know, we often call it a kitty, like when you're at work and you're put money in a kitty for someone's birthday or something. So anyway, there's this fund. It's offshore. It's in another country. And I'm just getting now that a similar fund has been made for some of these Congress people and maybe 1 or 2 senators. Now, or maybe 4 or 5 senators, actually. I was thinking about Democratic senators, but then they reminded me about all the Republican senators. So anyway, listen, I'm going to get to this further down in this questions because I think this is a fascinating question. And it's actually a little bigger than your question. So watch a few more minutes and you're going to, I think, have many more dots. You know, we have all these dots that we can't connect, that we don't understand, like what is going on? You know, why are they attacking our democracy? What do they want? What kind of world, what kind of United States do they want to live in? None of us are having an easy time figuring that out. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to us, right? Just watch a little bit further. I think the questions that are asked and how the guides pointed me to some other information and whatever they're going to say at that time is really going to help you understand that. Now, as far as does Marcus Flowers have a chance against her? Why am I getting the chills? Interesting. I don't know what that's about. Okay. All right. I actually think they're telling me to pull back a little bit and not get so detailed. That's been a message they've been giving me lately. Okay. As far as Marcus Flowers goes, okay, listen, guys. Here's the thing. I'm telling you what my guides are saying. The guides are reading the energy. This is July 13th. Who knows what is going to happen by November, right? So this is really forecasting far out into the future. If I tell you something you don't want to hear, I'm sorry. I'm just the messenger. Call 1-800-SPIRIT-GUIDES, hit 1 for complaints. I'm just the messenger, okay? Now here's the deal. Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be going through some things. She's a lot like Lindsey Graham in the sense that she's very slippery. She's very streetwise. She's very hard to catch because she's very wily. She's not a buffoon. She's not like, every time I say that word now, I'm always going to think of him. Because when I was doing the reading about Boris Johnson, the British people said he's a buffoon. I mean, that's how they basically talked to me about him when I was doing the reading. And it's a similar energy to say Boebert is a little bit of a buffoon, meaning not terribly smart, not terribly streetwise. Marjorie Taylor Greene is streetwise and she's smart. You're not going to be able to catch her with a simple, easy, trap. You're going to really have to close all the exits, close all the windows, post sentries at all of them. I mean, she's going to slip away. So when I go into this, I think that Marcus Flowers does have a chance, but I will say this, and I like Marcus Flowers. I'm a fan, but he's no match for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Again, she is twice as crafty as he is. She has laid traps for him that he is possibly going to just stumble into. I think Marcus is a very his energy feels pretty earnest. What you see is what you get. He believes in right and wrong. And that kind of person, I mean, you could actually overlay that over the whole Democratic Party, and you can understand why the Republican Party continually trounces us, because we never see it coming. We're never going to go as low as they are, right? We're never going to be doing the dirty tricks that they do. We take the high road, like Michelle Obama said. And here we are taking the high road, and they're just cruising to re-election time and again. So, with this particular situation, I'm going to tell you that Marjorie Taylor Greene is under investigation. She is under investigation for very serious, I don't know what I can say. They're being very cautious. She's under investigation for very serious matters. This is all investigation, which means there's nothing provable yet. You're innocent until proven guilty in some parts of this country. With some types of people, especially if you're white. But I'm going to tell you that Marcus may win, and if he does win, it's going to be by default. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's going to be because Marjorie Taylor Greene is not able to run or has stepped down due to some issues that she needs to deal with. There's a real good chance of that, though. I just want to tell you that. There's a really good chance. I'm going to say 60% chance that she gets taken out at the knees before the election. Now, that 40% that's left over is she's running besmirched, okay? Like in Texas, our attorney general has 5 federal indictments. 5 federal indictments. He's still running for office. It's crazy. And if she's running for office, it's going to be with this stain on her candidacy. But we all know that Republicans don't care. The things that are going to be catching up with her may not play out by November. Okay, so we may have to just wait. So that's the best I can tell you this far out. I hope that helps. Okay, so Fed Girl would like to ask, is the DOJ watching FBI Director Chris Wray? Yes. Okay, I need to break your question into many questions. Thank you for your question, Fed Girl. So, is the DOJ watching the FBI Director Chris Wray? Yes, they are. But honestly, the DOJ is compromised. There's somebody right under Garland that is compromised. And that I'm not going to say that that's Garland's whole problem as to why he hasn't produced any real results for us, but I'm going to say it's some of the problem. And that person under Garland is sort of making a mess of the investigation by making it bigger and bigger and bigger. So, and I don't know if I've talked about this before, but so you know how Benny Thompson just zeroes in on Trump. Well, of course, Garland has many other people to investigate, hundreds and hundreds. And so this person under Garland is actually making the investigation scope wider and wider and wider, knowing that you can't bring it all together and make it make sense to a judge if it gets to be too big. You understand what I'm saying? It's like if you took everything out of every closet and threw it in the living room, that's going to take you a lot longer to go through it all than if you just took stuff out of one closet, dealt with that. So you understand. So the DOJ is compromised. Now, Biden knows this. Am I getting in trouble? Am I saying too much? Golly. All right. I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful. Okay, so Biden knows this. Biden is aware of this. There's other things happening. There's other investigations happening, okay? Right, okay. They're showing me this picture that I talked about 2 years ago, maybe. When Trump was still in office, they showed me this picture of the FBI specifically, and also the CIA, in a basement. Like literally in somebody's basement in Virginia, where they had set up a whole nother shop, a whole nother office. And these few FBI and CIA agents were actively feeding information to Biden and Obama and Hillary, because all of those people had high-level security clearances, especially Obama, and Obama could share them with Hillary and Biden. So I'm telling you this because, heck, I don't know why I'm telling you. This is what they're telling me to tell you. Because, okay, so that's what's happening now. What you have is a subset of some very dedicated, probably the same ones, dedicated FBI and CIA and even ATF agents that are vetted and true to the United States. And they are, this is crazy. They are operating undercover to gather information about everybody. I mean, everybody. Garland, Wray, everybody. Because Biden is at this point where he doesn't know who he can trust. I mean, I talked about this in the first video. The guide said that, you remember, Trump left loyalists in a lot of agencies and a lot of positions, and you really don't know who they are. It's that kind of, deception going on. So let me go back to your question. Who knows why I went on that complete total. Okay. So your other question was, will Chris Wray be leaving the FBI after the midterms? And I'm hearing yes, he will. Are there pro-Trump and pro-insurrectionists in the FBI? And yes, so that's what I just talked about as well. So they answered your questions, even though I thought they took me on some kind of wild goose chase. I'm not sure that Chris Wray is bad or good. I think Chris Wray is, I can't say it. I think that he is more complicated. He's playing a more complicated role in this matter than we would all imagine. And we're going to be very surprised. And there's going to be a heck of a thriller book written about all of this after it happens. Because even though you have these journalists and videographers that are documenting everything right now, there's still a whole lot more that we don't know that's coming out, that will come out. And that's going to make for even more thrilling reading and documentaries. Okay, thank you for your question, Fed Girl. Always good to see you here. Sandra Tibbetts, thank you for your question, says, these are some hard-hitting questions, right off the bat. Is Jessica Watkins, who is one of the Oath Keepers, the person who planted the bombs on Jan 5th? I want to say that the guides have never saw this being Marjorie or Lauren Boebert. They never saw it being somebody who was elected. And they've talked about that in the past. Sandra goes on to say she had bomb instructions on her, the Justice Department says. Also, Jeremy Brown, who's another oath keeper, the one who made the was Jeremy Brown, another oath keeper, the one who made the bombs. The Justice Department said he transported explosives to DC. Okay, so Jessica Watkins, is she the one who planted the bombs? No, it's more complicated than that. She did have the bomb instructions on her. But she wasn't the one. They're telling me, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're wrong, but Jessica Watkins, they're telling me she did not plant the bombs. But they're going to find that person because the net is tightening, right? The net is tightening and all these people are caught in the net. And they're all going to start flipping on each other because it's in their best interest. So it's another step in the right direction, Sandra. But thank you for that question because that's really cool. And Jeremy Brown, you're wanting to know, was he the one who made the bombs? Jeremy Brown. I can see him physically doing something in regards to the bombs. He didn't do the whole thing. Why am I getting chills again? For entertainment purposes only. Good Lord. Holy smokes. Okay. He didn't do the whole thing, but he did an integral part of it, and they will nail him for it. They will finger him for that. He knows a lot. Jeremy Brown actually knows quite a bit about everything. That's what they just said. Okay. Thank you for your question, Sandra. That was really fascinating. Lynn Blasso or Blaso, thank you for your question. Whoops, hello. Just said, her question is, hi, Susan, will Governor Hochul be reelected in New York? It's still early, guys. It's July. We've got a whole lot. Plus, golly, have we got some cliffhangers and roller coasters and things we're going to be going through in the next, between now and September. However, to answer your question right now, the guides are telling me that she's doing a good job. I mean, obviously, I'm not in New York and I don't know anything about her or her policies or what she's done, but the guides tell me she's doing a good job. They're telling me that she's holding a line. She's holding a line of transparency, but not transparency. It's more like ethical. She's holding the ethical line in New York right now. Apparently, there's quite a bit of mess here and there. So they just showed me Cuomo. I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know if it was anything illegal, but I think that Cuomo had a little quid pro quo going on here and there. I mean, maybe quid pro quo is illegal. I don't know. But I feel like she's like holding this line, and then under the line is like a lot of like mess. And she doesn't like mess, and she doesn't know what to do about it, because if she exposes it, it's going to be bad for the Democrats. If she doesn't expose it, it's bad for everybody. She's trying to fix it on the down low. That line is I guess, her public persona, or her public, above ground. So what you can see, and then below ground is a lot of mess. And she's really trying to fix it. As a matter of fact, she's quite stressed out right now. She's having to deal with a lot of different people that are not agreeing about what's going on or how things should be moving forward. So I got to be honest with you. If she doesn't get reelected, I don't think she's going to be all that sad. To be honest with you, it's a mess. It's a real mess. She's got quite a force of will about her. You know what I mean? She has this, like, it's going to happen over my dead body kind of energy, but I just don't know if she's going to pull it off. Also, if she doesn't win and the Republicans get in there, and this is going to be quite a scandal, some of these things. They're scandals. They're holding under the ground. Wow, that was a whole lot more than I mean, sometimes I just think, can't they just say yes or no? Like, is she going to be reelected? Yes or no? Instead, they go off on these things and they talk about all this stuff. Nobody asks all that stuff. Anyway, okay. Because these videos get super long. So I'm always like, hey, like, let's be be succinct. Okay. Sorry. Hello, Kat. Hello. Thank you for your question. Wants to know, will the school teacher Marissa Wood beat Kevin McCarthy in the Bakersfield House race? She says she really likes her and she donates to her. That's a big thing to beat Kevin McCarthy. This is part of our problem. We've got a lot of people that don't have a lot of name recognition or don't have a lot of experience or money, or the huge backing of the dark money that floods into the Republican Party. Will Marissa Wood beat Kevin McCarthy? Again, it's very early, but I will tell you that apparently there's some energy around Kevin McCarthy having to answer for some things. He is going to be quite busy. They're showing me a picture of him swatting at like bees that are coming at him. So he's busy doing that. Get away from me. Stop. And meanwhile, Marissa is just kind of very quietly going about her business, gaining steam. So if she does win, it's going to be because Kevin McCarthy was either sidelined because of these things, allegedly, accusations, maybe even allegedly, possibly, potentially indictments. I'm trying to use every word I can to keep myself out of trouble. So yeah, she's got good energy. I would donate to her because she's got the ovaries to run. So I think we should support her. And as things get a little tighter around, September, October, we really need to protect and work for these candidates, help them stay safe, help them feel supported. Go to their, if you're local, go to their meetings, just walk them to their car. I got to be honest with you guys. The heat is really being turned up on these people, and I'm not sure what they will do in response. So, yes. Okay, so the next question from Jane B. Jane B says, can Admiral Mike Franken beat Grassley in Iowa in November? So I put these questions together because the energy is all the same. Meaning that Grassley, Kevin McCarthy, and, all these other people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're all going to be under scrutiny, under federal and state scrutiny. Even Grassley is under scrutiny. He is really tied to Jan 6 more than we know. And I think the heat. So today is the 13th, and yesterday was one of those Jan 6 hearings. Blew the roof off of the place, and it really changed the dynamics of everything that's going to be going forward. I got the hit a few days ago that Trump is now being more realistic. He's finally accepting his situation. So, like, never in his life, all the way back to him getting out of being drafted, has he ever paid any prices or any price for his behavior. The buck seems to be stopping right about this summer for him. He can't get out of these indictments. He can't get out of this stuff. It's crimes. I mean, we're not talking hearsay. We're not talking about something that could easily be out-lawyered in a case or in a court of law. We're talking about real crimes, real evidence. And now he's starting to meet with his people to say, how do I, instead of getting out of it, there's no way. Okay, how do I minimize it? What plea deal? What can I do? So this is what Trump is going to be doing pretty much this summer from here forward. And so Grassley is involved in that. If they're just telling me that, Garland, the DOJ, That's a very interesting point. The DOJ has decided to start at the bottom and go up. Now, that was good and important because in the beginning, they started taking the leaders of these militias out, which was really important because with the leaders out, cut off the head of the snake, you hope that these other militia members, and a lot of those militia members were also indicted, charged, and sentenced. Now, when you go after these bigger people, you're hoping that their army has now been sort of, cut off somewhat. Okay? So that part was good. However, what Spirit is saying is that now what DOJ is trying to do is go up the ladder kind of slowly, kind of going for, these other people like potentially Grassley. And what they just showed me that I thought was interesting was that if the DOJ would do what Jan 6 is doing and just circle back around. So you've cut them off here at the knees. Let's circle back around and get them at the top. Take Trump out. Once you take Trump out, all the people between Trump and the militia are going to go as a matter of their connection to the militia and Trump. So a really good workaround for Garland would be to stop allowing this spy, whatever you want to call it, to stop allowing them to enlarge the investigation and instead circle back around to Trump, take him out, and then just let it collapse on itself. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, whole different answer to what your question was, I think. But so your question was, can Admiral Mike Franken beat Grassley? Again, it's the same energy. If Grassley is sidelined, yes. If Grassley's not sidelined, no. Grassley has too much money. He has too much support. These people will do anything to win. Okay? They'll do anything to win. You can fill in that spot however you want, but I want to be careful here. Thank you for your question, Jane. That was fascinating. Kathy Johnson says in Louisiana, we have John Kennedy, incumbent Republican, being challenged by Luke Mixon, who's a Democrat. Now, in this situation, I feel really good about Luke Mixon for some reason. His energy just feels really good when I go into the race and I'm with Luke Mixon. He feels really good. I would say that he's got a really good chance of winning. They're just telling me an upset, an overthrow or an upset. So it might be neck and neck and then something happens and he's able to cross the finish line. So Kathy, I would continue to support Luke Mixon. He's got really good energy. Thank you for your question. This question is from Truth. So Truth is now asking me questions. Do your guides have any thoughts on a two-state solution as a creative way to reconstitute our union? Why or why not? Now, I thought I put another question next to yours that, okay. I wanted to give, okay. Okay, so a follow-up question is from Sweetie Darling Lulu. I wanted to give both of you guys credit because this is such a great question. And Sweetie Darling Lulu says, why wouldn't we want a two-state solution? Imagine, she says, state legislatures would initiate a referendum vote on either to join or not join, and the new fascist country of Trump land, which is what she's naming it, it's pretty good. She says, think of the ad campaigns and think of the freedom for the rest of us. She says, Susan, oh my God, can you imagine gun control, climate change initiatives, universal health care, abortion choice, unopposed majority rules, a new non-racist constitution that redefines the Second Amendment and enshrines women's rights, etc. Doesn't that feel freeing? The possibilities with the subsidies provided to those who wish to leave states that opted for authoritarianism and an orange dynasty. When I think of a map with new borders drawn, I feel nothing but peace for all concerned. That's amazing, isn't it? I'm ready to move there. When do we move? When can we go? Okay. Listen, guys, I don't want to throw cold water on your beautiful picture because I honestly love the idea. Here's what the guides have to say. I am a messenger. Repeat after me. Susan is a messenger. Okay? This has been seen. Okay, I'm going to say that I actually took a psychic class from someone back in, they're telling me it was in, I don't know, 2015, I don't know. And this woman did a channeling and she saw it. She said, I see the United States separating, and I see one type of people living in one place and one type of people living in the other place. And it's always stuck with me. You know, when you hear things that really resonate as having some truth or some energy around them, you never forget them. Even though you can't remember what you had for breakfast, you're always going to remember that one thing that you saw or heard. So let me tell you about this. That woman, turns out, was a racist. Here I had so much respect for her. I really, really did have a lot of respect for her until I found out she was a racist. And then I just cut her out of my life completely. So you got to wonder if that was her, vision. She could have seen that vision. She was a very good psychic. She could have seen that vision coming, and we very well may be on the precipice of that. But let me tell you why the spirit guides think that that's unlikely to happen. And again, I'm just the messenger. So the reason this is unlikely to happen, they're telling me, first of all, and I don't have these facts and figures. This is what the guides are saying. So please Google this. But they're saying to me that blue states pay more to the federal government than red states. So in essence, blue states fund our entire government. Okay? I know it's often said, Texas often says that they want to succeed, which I say, see you later. Bye-bye. Be happy to have you all succeed and me jump over to this new world that Sweetie Darling Lulu is talking about, that I'm going to elect her president of. But Texas can't survive on its own. It can't even run its own electrical grid. So the reason this won't work, there's a couple of reasons. And it's depressing, frankly, because I'm starting to like her idea of a new country. I wouldn't have to move out of the United States. I could just move across this border. Okay, anyway. They're mismanaged. The red states are mismanaged. They're poor. They're poorly educated. Right, because the citizens don't make very much money, they don't pay very many taxes. And because all the businesses move to the southern states to get the cheap labor, these businesses don't pay taxes either. So, it's not fiscally possible. Now, I know what you're saying to me right now. You're saying, well, great. All the better. Let them create their own country and let them go into bankrupt status. And then the Democrats can buy them back at half the price. Love that idea. Were you guys thinking about that? Because that's a really good idea. I like the way you think. Yeah. We can buy it back at like pennies on the dollar, like foreclosed. Trump land, foreclosed. See, the problem is China would outbid us. And then we'd have bigger problems, okay? So that's not going to work. See, this is why Spirit's here, like the parent, to give us the bad news. We can't do that. We could be outbid by anybody, to be honest with you. Although that would be worth seeing, right? China buying Trump land. Okay, never mind. That's not going to work. Okay, so it's not, I know. The guides are like, Susan, put cold water on her face. Okay, sorry. All right. I'm going to pull it together. The other problem is that the energy of the United States of America is the United States of America. We already did this once. We already did the whole Civil War thing. Didn't work out. And we're all together again. That the energy of the United States is united. I don't feel like I can see ever a point where the United States are literally divided, as in a border, a separate country. I can't see that. I can't get that energy to work. So perhaps in the next year, when we go through the things we go through. Oh, right. Okay. So they're showing me. So what I was saying was perhaps in the next, they answer my question before I finish asking the question. Sometimes they do this in readings too. So I was saying perhaps in the next year with the things we have to go through, that will change. You know, maybe that will break the energy. Maybe that will break the covenant of the energy. But they just showed me their answer was what I talked about in the last video, which is martial law, which is Biden or Kamala Harris, whoever's president. It's going to be one of those two. And I've seen a vision with it being Kamala Harris. But anyway, we'll institute martial law. And the National Guard will come in and quell the uprising. That's what's going to happen. So so it's not going to happen. I love sweetie darling Lulu's vision. God bless you. I wish that it could come true. I feel like somebody took all my donuts and candy away, but okay. And Truth, thank you for your question. That was a really great question. Joanne Gerard says, what is the energy for the Dems the week after the midterms, November 2022? What is the energy? So I'm looking ahead. I'm a Democrat. Hard-won battle. I'm feeling like, whew, like, oh my God, we almost didn't pull that off. Now, I don't think it's not that the race, it's not that we didn't win seats. It's not that we didn't win seats. It's that the seats we won were contested by these people who are like, you know, the state legislature is what we're talking about with the Supreme Court. So the state legislatures are going to say, no, we don't believe this election was fair. So we're going to seat our own electors who are Republican. That's the crux. That's the nexus of a big problem. So when I go into their energy, I feel like Nancy Pelosi is like literally wiping her brow. Like, I can't handle any more of this, right? Of this roller coaster that the guides keep talking about. But it's a feeling of relief. It's a feeling of relief. And then it's a feeling of roll your sleeves up. We've got to get busy, because I feel like the clock is ticking. They've only got 2 years before the presidential election, and they have to get things done. If they don't get things done, and I mean big things done, game over for the next election. And that's what they're thinking. That's a great question. Thank you, Joanne. Vicky White says, was Dr. Oz always a right-winger? And how does Oprah feel about him following the Orange Menace? Yes, Dr. Oz was always a right-winger. Right. Dr. Oz believes in this authoritarian kind of kingmaker, kingship, us versus them. He believes that. He believes that if you're poor, you're of a different class than him. So he's classist. Let's just put it that way. So allegedly, I guess you could call that a right winger, but Spirit wants to say specifically he's very classist. Okay. Your second question was, how does Oprah feel about him following the Orange Menace? You know, when I first read your question, as I was copying and pasting them into the Word document, and I don't, there's too many questions for me to get the guides to answer while I'm doing that. I basically get them to answer while I'm reading you the question. But when I pasted it, I had a little flash of information. And that was Oprah feels terrible about Dr. Oz. And there's a few other things that she feels terrible about. I mean, it's kind of interesting, despite the fact that she did hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of interviews and brought so much healing and knowledge and love to the world, she kind of focuses on these really things to her that really stand out as failures. There's maybe like less than 10, but they really haunt her. So it's unfortunate. It's when I go into her energy, it's like she can't see the bounty of all the good that she did. Instead, she seems to be focusing on these things that were, in her estimation, where she didn't get it right. She does talk to herself and say, I was just interviewing these people, or I'm not really responsible for who they became, or everybody makes mistakes. I mean, she knows enough. She's spiritually advanced enough to know to talk herself out of it, but it does sort of kind of stay in her energy maybe a little bit more than it should. Also, the flash that was very interesting to me was that how precipitously, I don't know what the word is, that she got out of the media right as things kind of went downhill. She kind of got out right in the right amount of time. And I think that she did that for a reason. I think that she knew this was coming. Maybe she had a reading. Maybe she herself has some psychic abilities. Maybe she just trusted her own gut intuition. But I think she knew she needed to get out, because I think that she knew she wouldn't be able to be neutral, quote unquote, anymore. She would have to take some sides, and it would just be too taxing on her. So I think she actually had some foreknowledge about that and got out when she did, which is very interesting, right? Thank you for your question, Vicky. Danny Haas says, will Fox News and other right-wing media lessen their influence on the American people within the next 2 years? She says, I've lost so many friends to conspiracy theories because of right-wing media. I hope that one day these people will ascend above their influence. And she says, thank you. And thank you, Donnie, as well. So yeah, interesting thing about Fox News. It's going down. I just posted today on my community page about the act. And when I'm connected to spirit, I can't always get everything I need to get. But anyway, the Truth in Advertising, or the Truth in the News, whatever act, Tulsi Gabbard actually put forth a bill to bring that back in 2019. And of course, nobody took it up. But I just wanted to tell you guys that people are doing the work. We have Congress people and senators that are putting these bills together and trying to rectify the situation. But honestly, Fox News is going down. Murdoch is going down. He's got big health problems, I want to say, in his midsection, maybe his prostate. But anyway, I'm not wishing bad on anybody. I'm just reading the energy here. And I do think that Murdoch is going to have to step aside. I do know that he has 2 sons. I think that one son, to be honest with you, there's more money to be made in a slightly different venue. We are going to pass this bill about truth in media, or whatever you want to call it, and that's going to really hurt Fox News. I mean, they're not really going to be viable. And this kid, he's a man, one of Murdoch's sons. He can see the writing on the wall. And to be honest with you, there's something more profitable that he's eyeing with the Fox News empire that he wants to. It has to do with online, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with coercion or any kind of other thing, Cambridge Analytica like thing. It's just money. It's a very profitable thing. So he's really ready to hang this stuff up. Fox News costs a lot of money. You have to pay all these personalities, all these TV anchors. It's a big outlay of money. And his new venture that he really wants to do, the overhead is very slim and the profit's very big. So that's what I think is happening. They will go away, and we will curtail the media influence on our citizens. Now, we're not going to make it go away, but we are going to curtail it quite a bit. Okay, thank you for your question, Danny. I appreciate it. The Craig's question is, what is China's influence on world politics? What is China's influence on world politics? It's huge. China's influence is huge. Now, I would say also, I did a video a while back that says Biden's New World Order in the title. And it talks about how Biden was, and this was before the Ukraine war, it's a long time ago. It talked about how Biden was going to go to these other democratic countries and start forming allies, trade groups, trade pacts, because if we had to go to war with one of these countries, we would be in really a poor position. And that happened because Biden saw that some of our COVID relief that we needed was being held up in different countries. And we needed to have some of these countries, some of this infrastructure for COVID care in our own country or in other countries that were more friendly to us. So this is a big deal. The Craigs, this is a really, really big deal. China's influence is huge. They're a dominating factor. Thank you for your question. Kelly Ward says, I don't understand why some people in the U.S. don't want democracy. Why they don't want our freedoms? If they would rather have a dictator, they could just move to Russia or Belarus. Please ask your guides to help me understand. I know, right? Okay, you have to understand something. Okay. And after this, I might end this video. We'll see. I don't know. This is going to be a long answer, but it's a really good thing. So listen to the answer because it's going to kind of blow your mind. To me, what I'm about to tell you guys connects a whole lot of dots that we're all wondering about. Like, why? So the reason is because it goes back to the Civil War. It goes back to this whole idea of having two countries. That's why this energy is so prominent in our energy as America. They want two Americas. They want, and guys, I just tell it like it is. I've always told you like it is. I've always said this. Find a video where I didn't say this. Not going to find it. These Trumpers are racist. They're white supremacists. They just want a white country. End of story. Now, what they really want is, the pre-Civil War South, where white men were in charge, white women were, second in command, but probably don't even have a chance to vote. And then under that, everybody else has some sort of subservient role to play to those people. Dr. Oz is sadly mistaken in thinking that he would be included in this, right? He's not going to be included in this. They'll use people like Herschel Walker to get where they want to go, but these people are not going to have any role in their government. They're going to be cast aside, okay? So this is what they want. In their mind, it is a democracy, okay? In their mind, they're in control of the democracy. It's a limited democracy. It's a theocracy. I don't know what it is. But I want to read you this because this is super important. This is from Bannon himself. Bannon is the orchestrator. He's the guy that made the plan. He's the chaos director. And I got this specifically from Heather Cox Richardson, who's a Boston University history professor who has her own YouTube channel, who does a letter to the Americans every day. Go to Heather Cox Richardson, Google it, sign up for the letter. You will not be disappointed. Every day she distills the previous day's news in a very easy to understand way. And sometimes she juxtaposes some history with that, which has been helpful given that these people want to go back to pre-Civil War. So here's what it says. More and more witnesses, she's talking about January 6th. More and more witnesses seem to be siding with transparency and the committee rather than Trump. Today, Dan Friedman of Mother Jones published a tape of Bannon on October 31st, 2020, laughing as he explains to a private audience that Trump will win in 2020 simply by declaring he won, even if he didn't. Now, this guy said this on October 31st in 2020. So months before the actual, Jan 6, attack, okay? This was planned in advance. He said, Trump will claim that he win even if he didn't. Okay, so here is the rest of it. Trump knew that Democratic mail-in ballots would show up in the vote totals later than Republicans cast on election day. Trump knew. This is common. This is a common thing. It's always been this way. This is nothing new. Democrats tend to vote mail-in ballots. Trump wanted to declare his win before the mail-in ballots could have a chance to be counted. That's why he wanted to do it that time instead of waiting. He wanted to go ahead and sanctify those votes. So Bannon goes on to say, and Trump's going to take advantage of it. That's our strategy. He's going to declare himself a winner. So when you wake up Wednesday morning, it's going to be a firestorm, he said. You're going to have Antifa crazy, the media crazy, the courts are crazy, and Trump's going to be sitting there mocking and tweeting shit out. You lose. I'm the winner. I'm the king. I'm the king. Is that a theocracy? Is that why the guides are saying the word theocracy? I don't know. There's your answer from Bannon in October. They want this authoritarian kingship. They don't think they're going to lose any rights because they think that as white men, they're going to be, right up there. And everybody else is going to be under them. So maybe they're not thinking of it as a democracy, but they're thinking that they're going to be the ones with all the power, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters to these people is they want their power back. They feel like their power's been stolen by women, by civil rights, by environmental rights. It's pathetic, but it's true. It's the last muse, baby cries of the white man is what you're hearing. Now, not all white men are like this, obviously, but white men Trumpers, it's their last cry, desperate cries for help is what it is. We're coming up on an hour here. And let me just see if I can find one more. It's kind of hard to fit all this in here. Jamie K says, is it the ETs stopping nuclear disasters information correct? Yes, it is correct. It is absolutely correct. You can go back and there's real reporting and documentation that these nuclear events didn't happen for reasons that nobody can explain. Absolutely, it was the ETs. We've talked about this many times. When planet Earth, when our vibration gets disrupted, finally they're giving me the word, the Schumann resonance. When it gets disrupted, it sends out shock waves that then affect other planets and even other galaxies. And that is a no-go. We are not going to be allowed to trash everything else, okay? So that they step in and draw the line when that happens. Karen Ettinger says, I hear rumbles that Lindsey Graham and Mitch did not legitimately win their last elections. If this is true, how did they do it? And will they try again? Thank you for your question, Karen. Yes, it is true. The guides have been saying this for some time. And you know how they blame everything on Dominion voting machines? And Dominion has sued them and has won quite a bit of money. It's the other brand that is the allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, compromised. The other brand is compromised. So it's just like everything they do. When they say one thing, you can just put your Trump decoder ring on and point the other direction and know exactly the truth of it. So if they say the election was stolen, they mean they stole it. If they say Dominion is the machines that took the that change the ballots, then you can basically point the other direction to the other machine. Now, this information is going to come out, but the guides have been saying this for a long time. These things are very destabilizing. To hear that your vote has been stolen, well, you see how it destabilized those Republicans. They wanted to take over the country all of a sudden, right? So those people are smaller number than the rest of us. So if the rest of us feel like our vote has been stolen for the last, couple of races, then we're going to then feel the same way. And we may jump up and become the ones that are protesting, and we may become the ones that are doing something crazy, like storming the Capitol. Okay, so they have to be careful about how they disclose this information, and really what I think they would rather do is fix it. They would rather just fix it and not let anybody know that it ever happened. That's what Biden is trying to do right now. And there are people working on it. I'm going to tell you that. But I don't think it's going to get fixed by this next election, which is very unfortunate. And that's why I just see a lot of that kind of stuff happening around this next election. There's going to be a lot of things that just are wrong, that don't make any sense, that are illegal, honestly. So we do know about it. We are trying to fix it, Karen. Hopefully they will fix it. They may fix it, but it's going to be down to the wire. Again, what did I see the Democrats going, whew, right? Let's see. You guys got a lot of more questions, and I'm sorry I just can't get to them all. I'm really trying to. So another question is about Lindsey Graham from Linnea Hood. My question is, will Lindsey Graham answer his subpoena? It seems like he's hiding under his bed. Yes. Lindsey Graham is, the net is tightening on all these people. He is, I hear him when I just went into his energy. He's somewhere where he's sweating. He's outside. He might be at a golf course, or he's sitting on a patio eating lunch, but he's a little bit moist. He's moist, damping, it's just kind of, anyway, he just said, "We're effed." That's what he said. And he slumps back in his chair and he looks over to his right and he just gazes in the distance like, we are so effed. Game over for Lindsey Graham. Game over for Mitch McConnell, for Trump, for all of these people. Game over. Again, something has shifted. The January 6th committee has shifted enough energy and has done brilliant detective work and investigation work, and has kept a narrow focus, really stayed focused on the game at hand. And because of that, they haven't gotten off mission creep. They haven't just gone all over the place like Garland has. And they're really doing the work. They're doing the actual work that's going to bring these people down. And with that, I think I'm going to have to end this video. I'm sorry to the questions that I didn't get to. Continue sending me questions in the future. You guys have the best questions. You're deep thinkers. And it's fascinating what the guides have to say, is it not? So thanks again for staying to the end. Gold stars. Look, I don't know what you can do with these gold stars. Pat yourself on the back, cash them in and eat some ice cream, chocolate, get a massage, get some Reiki, go to the beach. That's just some of the things. Just, try to cash them in for that, but just understand that they're not really worth real money. Sorry about that. But thanks again for staying to the end. You guys are my really diehard watchers, and I appreciate it. If you're still here and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. I really appreciate all my new subscribers. Liking the video really helps me out as well. And as usual, leave your comments below. I do try to answer your questions. If I didn't answer your question in this video, feel free to ask it again in the comments and I'll try to answer it there, okay? You guys take really good care of yourselves. Much love and blessings to each of you. We'll talk again soon right here on this channel. For entertainment purposes only.